The only other thing maybe that I would like to add, and I don't know if it fits here, but it might fit here, but a strategy of aligning school improvement plans to the objective that all schools support learning of all students.
Would that be under the first one?
It may be under the first one. It may maybe be under the first one. I'm just like, I'd like to make sure Brenda's paying attention, so she has to go back up.
Well,
So what you're looking at a strategic plan that actually lines
I would
up.
like to make it even bolder than that.
Yeah.
Maybe put it above the first pillar and say it's an expectation that all schools will align their school improvement plans to.
Yeah, that's really the overarching
I don't want it
objective.
just under pillar 1 or 2.
Yeah,
You want
yeah, I don't want to
all-
separate it out. It is an expectation that whatever you adopt as a strategic plan filters down to all areas of the school system, even to the individual classroom, and all builds off of the same foundation.
Okay. I think it's, okay. Are you, I guess what I'm asking is, are you saying that it's actually going to happen if we don't put it somewhere?
I'm saying
We're
that
going to put it somewhere.
Oh, we're going to put it
Yes.
somewhere.
We're going to put it up the very
Oh, we're
top
going
of
to
this
put it up
plan.
there.
it'll
Okay.
be part of the foundational objectives and not tied to individual strategies.
It'll be part of the preamble.
Oh, we get a preamble?
Yes.
I just made that up.
Excellent.
We generally tie the school improvement planning form
To the master plan,
Okay.
yes, that's right.
We
Okay.
basically pull
Yeah.
the 2018 thing in, so here's your school improvement
And
plan.
Okay.
just so you know, Mrs. Dolch is meeting tomorrow with all of the high school improvement team chairs, and we're going to go there and explain the alignment and talk about what your work was today, and
Are you going to say words?
Yes, I will.
Okay. good.
she's done already. It's
I
amazing.
I have a question about community involvement. Is that in the school improvement plans already?
What we asked schools to do is based on the strategic plan, and so what they did was Vision 2018, the plan that we're currently under, they did a needs assessment. So they said, what are the strategies, where are we weak? And then they can choose, we require 3 goals for them in their school improvement plan that are aligned to this. So they could, but they might not appear in everything, because some schools do a bang-up job already with that, and others
Right.
don't, so.
Tailored for each school.
Yeah, I actually did go in, when I was thinking about the school improvement process, I went into the website and printed out several of the different schools' plans, and one of the things that I liked about it was they had, you know, the Vision 2018, at least the biggest tenets on starting off all of theirs, and then saying, okay, this is where we think our school has the biggest gaps that we're trying to fill. So. So I actually did want to talk a little bit about the school improvement process. I think there absolutely has to be a link to the overall strategic plan. It has to be completely consistent. And I kind of liked it being under the family component, the family and community pillar, right? We have engaged parents from all communities in the school improvement process, but I think that there is also a place for that under the first pillar, right? Because for student success, I think there's a link between student success and the achievement of the individual school improvement plans.
So that's under,
But I guess, Mr. Johnson, what you were saying, though, is maybe
Let's
it
make
belongs
it
up
bigger, yeah.
above the whole set of
Well,
pillars.
certainly the alignment, I think, should go through all the pillars, but I see what you're saying, Ms. Zipping. We could certainly put the engaged parent from all communities in the school improvement process as a strategy under every student succeeds.
because there's a specificity with that
Because-
tie-in, yes.
Right, and schools that could then choose to use that as a strategy for student success rather than just parent engagement, because they might have
Like
great
it.
parent engagement, but they're just all there for play day.
Yeah,
You know.
I like it.
Okay.
This strategic plan is the first step of any school's school improvement process. And what a lot of schools do is at the end of the year, the middle schools especially, I know, they take their school data, they take the strategic plan, and then like Mr. Johnson said, they look at where their main points of emphasis need to be next year. There's always a goal there on student achievement. That's one of the cores of what's required that we put in there, because that's the basis of what we do. But all schools use this, and all schools are using it to link that process. So I really think what Mr. Johnson suggests of putting that in, that this is that first step, reinforces what we want all schools to do.
And also with Vision 2018, not only it became part of the school improvement plans and everybody ties back to that, but also we changed our evaluation system to tie in to those pillars as well. So it's not only part of the expectation of the school, it's the expectation and the evaluation process of individual administrators within the schools.
So we better get it right.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I haven't necessarily experienced is with the school improvement plans. You know, I think they're set up very well, and as you said, you know, there's very specific needs assessments in here and the measures that they're going to hit, which I think is fantastic. What I'm curious about is how do we circle back on that at the end of every year? Do we actually do a report card of how did we do? Are principals held accountable to it?
Yes. That's part of the process, is that they analyze their successes, reevaluate their needs, use their school data. A lot of schools survey at the end of the year to make sure, not just checking from their school data, but from the community, from the students, to see how all that information comes together to better align their plan for the next year.
And each year you get an annual report that has a summary of all of that information and the pillars.
And it's also a fluid document, so we looked at it every month. Like if we had goals in our document, we looked at it every month to see where we were. Was this working, or did we, sometimes you tried something that you didn't put in there, so you had to rewrite it. So it really was fluid. And then at the end of the year, I did anyway, a survey of my teachers, my parents, and students of where we were on the items, and then we did our retreat in the summer. We took all that information to us to see where we wanted to go, where we were successful, where we weren't, why we weren't, why we thought we weren't, and where we wanted to go. So it's a collaborative process. You want to make sure everybody's involved, and not just the people on the SIT team. That's really important that you get, that everybody feels like they have a say in that process.
That's fantastic that it's really a fluid process, because the last thing you want to do is write it, set it aside, and then at the end of the year go back and say, how'd we do? You know, because it's too late to...
Might have been a good idea in July, but then by October, it's like, that was really dumb. We're not going to do that. No.
Well, and throughout the years, it's evolved into more than that, too, because just like she's doing tomorrow, we get together with our SID chairs throughout the year. And part of what they do is they share their plans with other schools. If there's something that's working at Mount Airy Middle, for example, Northwest Middle can then hear it and use that. And that collaboration happens throughout the year. There's the middle process, and then there's the end evaluation. So it's an ongoing fluid process that constantly brings even more resources to the school than just their plan.
I think that collaboration is key. I mean, we're starting to see, you know, at the board meetings every month, we're putting on spotlight, you know, one special activity that one of the schools is doing. And I think that might be a great way to kind of build that in, build in the collaboration amongst the schools. Like, okay, let's talk about what's working well, you know, because all these programs are different across it, but a lot of them are very successful. So how do we leverage that?
Well, it's also very important. We intentionally narrowed down. We want 3 goals from the school. If you have too many, they get lost.
Right.
So, you know, we want everybody to know what your 3 goals are and focus on those 3 goals. So that's why it's important that you only have 4 pillars, that you only have maybe 2 or 3 objectives per pillar. I mean, you got to keep it enough that it's manageable for the schools, because, you know, it really is an important piece.